I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, a podcast where three women with names discuss movies about something other than a man. Paid in Puke is hosted by Annie Malone, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. Welcome to Paid in Puke Season 7, where we discuss every episode of Ryan Murphy's American crime story miniseries, Impeachment, starring Beanie Feldstein and Sarah Paulson. I'm Jessica Baxter.
I'm Christina Barr.
I'm Annie Malone.
And today's episode is number 7, The Assassination of Monica Lewinsky, written by Flora Birnbaum, Daniel Pearle, and showrunner Sarah Burgess, and directed by Michael Uppendahl. It originally aired on October 18th, 2021.
I have nothing to hide.
That is just what she said about you on the tapes, sir.
Tapes?
Look at this. There.
Oh my God, that's me. That's my face.
Mr. President, do you know a woman named Monica Lewinsky?
Is there something you need to tell me?
I want to say one thing to the American people. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Real quick, I guess I just want to put it on. There will be construction noises in this episode. Sorry about that.
The townhouse is going up and
And they're working through the weekend. They're really going fast on these.
yeah, I know. Like, they're so high now.
So we're going to have a little bit of music in the background, a little diegetic music, and some hammering occasionally. I'll try to cut it out, but probably won't be able to do it all. Anyway, oh my lord, is this a hard episode. I almost feel like this was harder than the last episode where she was stuck in a room with a bunch of strange, abusive men.
I thought the last one was harder, but I mean, it was also pretty rough.
Yeah, and she has to watch it all unfold. She's literally trapped in her apartment with her mother.
Hello?
Marcia, can you hear me?
Yes.
You need to stay inside, okay? But Monica's got to stay inside the apartment.
What? What are you saying?
The hyenas, they got the whole place surrounded. You need to shut the windows and close all the shutters and make sure you lock the doors. Whatever you do.
Oh my God.
And can't do anything else but watch the news, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just a endless looping footage about how she's a stalker and
Oof, it's so
just
awful.
awful things. Awful people from her past who don't know anything.
Or who are changing the narrative to make her look bad. Like her abuser, literally her abuser from high school.
Yeah.
No. That creep took advantage of you when you were young.
When I heard the authorities were investigating Monica Lewinsky, I felt I had to come forward.
I'm sorry. We're turning this off. No, it's...
Monica and I were involved for a
I'd
time
rather see it.
before she went to Washington. We had an affair. And while my wife and I were trying to heal, Monica wouldn't leave us alone. She became obsessed with us. She convinced herself that we were in love. How do I put this? Monica has a history of twisting facts.
Would you say that this was a fatal attraction scenario?
You could say that.
Right? How was that guy, like, not ashamed to admit, like, he fucked a student?
Yeah,
Like,
to say, I mean, that's one thing that would never happen today.
She went crazy. Like,
Right, yeah.
Like, I feel like that never would have flown today. This poor man and his
look at
wife.
this crazy chick.
Yeah.
The news clip of him, we came here to heal, my wife and I, to
hate him
heal.
so
Yeah, like today, I don't see that ever flying. I don't know. I mean, but you can...
This
I guess,
was
like,
the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. People that lie, that are good at lying, they take these things that did happen. They are, I mean, it was true that she was infatuated with Bill Clinton, but that's only one little piece. But like a liar who's good at it can take that piece and weave in this whole other narrative that is not true.
Which is exactly what we see Bill trying to do in this episode.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time with him more than we have before, and it's a little painful. But I think it's important, too, to see how he's manipulating everybody behind the scenes to be on his side, and like the only person he's honest with is, I don't even know who that guy is, but some schlub of like, who's clearly also
like shady guy.
Some shady guy who's an expert on sexual imbroglios, he said.
Right, yeah. I think it was his former political advisor who'd actually been, I mean, he had to fire him because he was caught with a prostitute, like, sucking her toes. He wasn't like a rando guy, like he actually worked with Clinton before. When you're in that situation, that's the guy you call, basically, like...
Yeah, the expert.
Right.
The guy who's been through it.
And he's like basically telling him, you can't tell the truth. They don't care that you had an affair, but they'll care that you lied. Because Bill Clinton, I don't know why he thought, oh, I'll just come clean. They'll forgive me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not going to win that way. Like, and basically he makes the decision, oh, it's simple. We just have to win. And so, like, the line is like, I'm not going to tell the truth.
He's like, I can't tell the truth, which is that's the way he rationalizes it, to be like, that's impossible. Telling the truth at this point is impossible.
Yeah, but there's so many moments where it's just like, I cannot believe this guy is getting away with all of this. He has so many people under his thumb. Like, when he goes and wakes up Hillary, like, oh, you won't believe what Ken Starr's got cooking now. And then Hillary's like, did something happen? And he's just like, you'll have to ask Betty. She'll tell you.
I know.
I was never... That's like some, like, child man-baby... But it's like, the guy...
Poor Betty, my God.
Oh, that scene was terrible, too.
Well, just also when he's talking to Hillary, and he's like, I would tell you. You know I would.
Do you know her?
Yeah, I know Monica. Well, she worked in the West Wing, and now she works in the Pentagon.
Is there something you need to tell me?
No.
Did something happen?
No.
Because if anything happened, you know it's better that I walk in.
And I would tell you. You know I would. But nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, I have told you shit before.
Right.
All of that was just so nuts to me. When this was all happening and, like, Hillary was on TV saying it was a vast right-wing conspiracy against her husband, you know. And I remember, like, my sister and I having an argument. Because I'm like, she knows who she's married to. Like, of course she knows that this happened.
Yeah.
But then the story has always been, like, no, she didn't know until he finally eventually does have to tell her. Because obviously it all blows up. It's just interesting, like, that level of denial. Because, like, how could she not know? Like, of course, why did anyone believe him? Like, why would literally anyone believe him? Like, I didn't...
It's hard to...
Too much smoke for there not to be fire.
Right!
Like,
he's already got a reputation.
Right.
And there are so many people.
And there was so much evidence about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Hillary is a political animal. Like, she does not lose, you know? Like, she is going to... I mean, she lost. Up until then, she was like, you know, like...
she's ruthless.
I think she's
absolutely ruthless.
very ambitious and ruthless, but I feel like she's not good at it.
Yeah, like, there is this level of denial. I mean, it's her husband. She's not gonna let this ruin their being in the White House. Like, you know, there's a sense of where she's, like, springing into action. Go tell the staff, we're gonna do this. Gotta get ahead of this. And she's always been there to spring into action.
Well, because she's thinking about her career, too.
Yeah.
But she's related to it, and...
I think it's a calculated decision with her, whether it's beneficial to her to still be a Clinton.
Yeah.
The thing that really struck me the most while watching this, too, is the idea that Monica and Linda were watching all of the jokes. Like, Monica especially saw every Letterman and Leno joke and SNL skit, and I don't know, it didn't occur to me at the time, you know, when it was happening, that she would be a captive audience to this torture, this, like, middle school style ridicule.
The slut-shaming stuff is just so fucked up. It's just so crazy, you know, that it's like, oh, there's a sex scandal, that means this woman is some crazy hoe. You know, like, it's just weird where it's like two consenting adults. I mean, even that part, you know. But two consenting adults, one is fine, the other one is a slut. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Right.
How can one person in a relationship be a slut? Like,
it's right. I mean, it's just like, they had an affair, so let's make fun of Monica like Monica's addicted to giving blowjobs or something. Like, it's just, like, so weird. Like, why did we do that?
I know. Why did we do that?
People in politics being portrayed as, like, these, like, elevated, virtuous people. Like, I feel like there was a mythology about Clinton that a lot of the country you know, they were like this new voice in politics that was fresh and new, and Clinton was this heir apparent to like a Kennedy, you know, like they kept showing that footage of him as a Boy Scout, you know, shaking hands with JFK.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a whole, like, mythology about him, and he's an abuser of women. Like,
it's so significant to me every time they show him in the show looking at, like, one of the portraits of the past presidents, and every one of them has some fucked up thing that they did, you know, and he's like, these are my idols, I want to be just like them, and he is. Yeah. Congratulations, you kept the legacy going by being a shady motherfucker.
and, like, Linda Tripp has this, like, mythology about what the White House, people that go into the White House are supposed to be. Reagan would never go into the Oval without a full suit. Oh my god. And, you know, like... I don't know.
Like that.
I know. There's just such a like false ideas about. I don't know. I just looking back, like Clinton is just so creepy, you know. Like, and he's a liar. He lied to so many people, but I guess he just had so many allies.
I mean, I think they were just really able to sort of spin the narrative of like, this is just personal attacks on me and my private life, and it doesn't matter. You know, that ultimately it was, like, not something that matters. Like, I'm getting impeached over a blowjob. And, like, you know, I feel like they were very successful kind of spinning that, which was not really what happened, you know?
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Like, it sort of was and it wasn't, you know?
It's amazing, like, how much he got away with. He could weasel himself out of any situation. Like, the press secretary is like, I don't know what to tell these people. The journalists keep asking questions, and then, like, he makes an appearance with Hillary, and, like, he's just like, I need to get back to the country, or whatever.
Yeah, he keeps saying how he needs to get back to work, and how that's like his line that he keeps repeating, that he thought this will get him.
Right.
You had no sexual relationship with this young woman.
There is not a sexual relationship. That is accurate. You know, that's all I can say now. You see, what I'm trying to do is to contain my natural impulses and get back to work. You know, I think it's important that we cooperate. I will cooperate, but I want to focus on the work at hand.
You had no conversations with this young woman, Monica Lewinsky, about her testimony or possible testimony?
I did not urge anyone to say anything that was untrue. I did not urge anyone to say anything that was untrue. That's my statement to you. Mm-hmm. Look, you know as much about this as I do right now. So, you know, we'll just have to look into it and cooperate, and we'll see. But meanwhile, I've got to get on with the work of the country.
I'm just so busy working on the country. Ugh.
And Hillary helped him so much to, like, dig himself out of that hole.
Because it was beneficial for her to be out of it. For him to be out of it, yeah. I'm sure it'll go in, we haven't seen that episode. I think the next episode is all about Hillary and her.
Oh, yeah, that's a great
and her reaction.
Episode.
It is kind of funny how we've only seen her basically asleep or in the bathroom until this point. I know, Bubba. Bubba's here too. He's going to say some things.
A fun fact that I think from Jeffrey Toobin's book, but when, you know, the famous clip where he was like, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Ms. Lewinsky. The reason he said with that woman, like he spaced her name for a second.
Oh my god!
That's why he said with that woman. And then he gets it, it's like with that woman, Ms. Lewinsky.
Oh my god, wow.
Ew. Ugh.
The scene where he goes in with Paula Jones going into that deposition, he's just like glad-handing all of the white-shoed lawyers in the room. Oh, thank you for coming on a weekend.
Yeah.
Your Honor, thanks for coming all the way from Arkansas. You have a good flight?
I did, thank you, Mr. President.
I appreciate you all making yourselves available on the weekend.
It was just like so. Paula Jones is just like in there by herself, and
I know. Why did she have to be there by herself?
And her lawyer stayed outside with it was like a 6-hour deposition with a lunch, and like her lawyer was not in the room. Like she was out there.
Why not? Do you know why?
I don't know. Well, I think it was just his deposition. I don't think she was speaking at all.
Well, then why did she have to be there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Was that just because the lawyer thought he couldn't lie if he was looking at her or something?
I don't know, but I definitely
Yeah.
noticed that he did not even glance over at her
Yeah.
in that scene. And it's a really intimidating situation for her. And she didn't actually run out of the room when he said I didn't know her or I never met her. That apparently happened later with her lawyer.
A little extra drama there. It's so devastating.
So you deny her testimony that in the Excelsior Hotel, while you were governor of Arkansas, you asked her to perform oral sex on you?
I emphatically deny it. It did not happen.
Mr. President, you realize seated to my right, 2 chairs down, is Mrs. Paula Jones. Do you remember meeting Miss Jones?
No.
Have you ever met Paula Jones?
I've said this many times. I have never met Paula Jones.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Crazy
Any
when
of these
someone
women-
acts like so righteous when they're lying, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how dare you accuse me of this?
And then in front of so many
definitely
people,
did.
yeah, it's so brutal that she has to be there while he's saying, I don't remember meeting you, I definitely didn't do that, and it's affected her whole life, and he's just like, didn't happen.
Apparently, you know that part where he kept saying on the weekends?
Yeah.
Mr. President, were you and Monica Lewinsky ever alone together in the Oval Office?
I don't recall, but when she worked in the Legislative Affairs Office, they always had somebody there on the weekends. Typically, I work some on the weekends. Sometimes they'd bring me things on the weekends. It seems to me that she brought things to me once or twice on the weekends. And in that case, you know, whatever time she'd be in there, drop it off, exchange a few words, and go.
Apparently he actually said it that many times.
Oh, really?
Like, I was working on the weekend. I was like, oh my god, how many times is he going to say
I mean,
that?
he really saw, it's like,
That definitely, yeah.
if there was some psychological expert that was like signs of someone lying.
I know, right?
Repeating words and stuttering a lot. He seems so flustered.
The lawyer's asking him about the gifts. Like, you can tell he's like, how the fuck do they know this? You know? Like, he has this really confused look on his face. And that was part of the transcript of like, what are you trying to, basically he's like, what are you trying to get at here? I feel like you're looking for an answer. And the prosecutor said, it will be revealed later.
Mr. Fisher, let me, is there something, you asked that with such conviction, I answered with such conviction. Is there something you want to ask me about this? Because I don't even know what you're talking about, I don't think.
Sir, I think this will come to light shortly. And you'll understand.
That's interesting, because, like, obviously they both know what he's talking about. Weird.
I felt a little bad for Issakoff getting his story killed, and then Mike Drudge goes ahead and puts it on the internet.
It's Drudge. He's already gone to bed.
Right. Well, if you could kindly relay, I'm looking for a comment on a piece I'm posting tomorrow first thing. It's on Newsweek spiking his story on the president's affair with an intern.
I'll let him know.
Thank you much.
Yeah, the story that there is no story. It's kind of funny. Or that the story
so
that they couldn't. I know, it sucks. I feel like this episode is a lot about the way the press really ruins people's lives.
Yeah.
Just everybody.
The parts like with Allison Tripp and her mom,
God, poor Allison
I
again.
really felt for her. Like it was just so sad to see. Like, I don't know if it was the SNL sketch they were watching together, but maybe it was the news clip. And Allison is seeing the story being told on the news about how her mom secretly recorded these conversations and was not gonna tell her friend, like she was gonna keep her secret, and like. You can kind of see Linda Tripp looking to Allison, reacting to the news. Maybe she's hoping Allison will have this reaction of, you're a hero, Mom, or whatever, but Allison seems to be like, my mom did that, you know? I just felt so bad for her. And then the part where they stay up and make popcorn for the SNL open. And
I know, and then Linda's like, I hope they're nice to her.
Right.
Who's gonna play Monica?
And I hope they're fair to her.
It'll be her and Bill in the office.
Oh, stop it.
Hi, I'm meeting a friend here.
Your name?
Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, yeah. Right this way.
This trip is already done.
Oh.
Monica! Monica Lewinsky.
Okay, you shouldn't watch this.
No. It's funny.
I'll have a Bortles and James.
I'll have a Bloody Mary and 2 AA batteries. Former White House intern Monica Lewinsky.
Because she's like, oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I mean, she has like serious from being called Gus.
Yeah, then she tells that story, and obviously it was extremely triggering for her to see that because it was
honestly
ripped straight from her childhood.
You know what the popular kids used to call me in school? Gus. It was a running joke my whole junior year. People would ask me why, and I'd pretend I didn't know, but I did. I knew the whole time. Gus Johnson was a big famous basketball player. A gigantic man.
That's horrible.
No, the point is, I've been teased my whole life. I can take it.
And I honestly was like curious. I wonder, was it really triggering for her, or was she like, I have such a thick skin because I've been made fun of my whole life for this?
I kind of was like, she's telling that to her daughter as it should be like a badge of honor for her, but I kind of felt like she didn't believe it herself, maybe. Like, I mean, Linda Tripp she had like this anonymous benefactor who paid for all of this plastic surgery for her in 1999. And,
Really?
like, Paula Jones ends up getting like her nose done because she couldn't stand being made fun of for her nose.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it is like having that much scrutiny about your physical appearance.
But it's not relevant at all to the story.
Yeah, I mean,
not at all.
Like, obviously, he wouldn't have harassed her. She's ugly, you know? Like, she has a big nose. Obviously.
And, like, obviously the reason Linda did this is because she's an ugly fat troll and is jealous. Sort of. Yeah.
Right. Because nobody would harass her. I mean, honestly, that was part of the narrative in the 90s was, I don't believe that woman was sexually harassed because she's not cute. You know?
Right, yeah.
It's pretty fucked up.
So fucked up. Or even just, like, the motivations of why Linda did what she did. It wasn't anything to do with the way she looked.
Right.
Why don't we really think about what DC does to people's brains? Like, it's too hard to think about the truth. It's easy to say it's because that woman's a fat bitch.
Right.
Yeah. Seems like maybe like the first viral internet scandal, or I guess the Pam and Tommy thing.
It's definitely the pioneer days of internet scandals, yeah.
Right, yeah, and we'll never go back. The toothpaste is not be put back in the tube on these things.
Yeah.
Right. Because like today, internet scandals don't have any kind of longevity at all. I mean, can you imagine like something like just saturating the news for months and months now? Like,
right.
I feel like that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Other than the pandemic, I guess.
Right, but that's not like...
But just like a personal scandal, yeah. Sometimes we'll revisit things, like every once in a while they're like, what's Kanye doing now?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's so many of these going on at the same time with like celebrity feuds or the Trump, the PP tapes and the whatever. I mean, it's just like bam, 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 bam. It's like there's something new every day.
Yeah.
Like there's not just one thread that we're following.
Like there are other people who are targeted. People get breaks sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
For Monica, it was for months. Every time she turned on the TV, it was about her.
Yeah.
Imagine. It's just so insane to think that that's what her life was like, and no wonder, you know.
Yeah.
It's so sad and fucked up.
I mean, her mom doesn't want her daughter watching all these clips on the news and TV saying, like, mean things about her daughter.
Yeah.
And, like, she's fighting with her mom. I have to watch this or else I'll just imagine all the bad things they're going to say about me, and that's even worse. And then, like, her mom, Marcia, is kind of like, this is all gonna go away. When he goes away, this goes away.
She says that a couple times.
This is a terrible week in our lives, but all we have to do is get through it. And yes, maybe he will have to resign. But guess what? When he does, all of this stops. He goes away, all of it goes away.
I mean, like, she's a really wealthy, flashy lady, like, who I'm sure can talk her way out of things. I mean, she's clearly out of her depth, but she's also, like, trying to be comforting, but Monica's like...
Well, she has to say comforting words to her daughter.
She has to,
that's
but...
her job, and that's the best thing to do in this situation, but it's hard because she doesn't, I mean, this is so unprecedented. Everything that's happening, like, she literally doesn't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen, because how could they? There's nothing like that has ever happened before.
The saddest part in this episode was where she told her mom, all of that stuff is true.
These are lies about my daughter, and I'm sick of hearing them. What are you talking about, Monica?
What they're saying is true.
No, it is not.
I did have an affair with Bill, and I did go to fat camp, and my parents did break up. And I guess one night I told Linda that you raised me in a house of lies, and now the whole world knows that too.
Doesn't matter. So many kids have that exact same history. Come on.
It's all true. Just like it's true that everyone I've ever met is apparently just waiting for a phone call from Wolf fucking Blitzer to just go on live TV and tear me apart.
Honey, I know.
Please don't tell me that it's gonna be okay. I messed up so bad that I can't turn off the TV, because if I turn off the TV, I'm just going to imagine the horrible things people are saying about me, and that's worse.
Sweetheart, let me draw you a bath. Do something.
I know you're trying to help, but right now all I can do is I can just sit here and I can watch this.
But she's watching this feedback loop of how negative it all is, and it's almost like she's in a false reality of believing all the negative stuff.
Well, it's just because of the way that the press are portraying it. I mean, not that the fat camp thing was even relevant at all, but just saying, like, she had an affair with a teacher. The way they're saying it is, like, it should be like, that's fucking sad for her that the teacher abused her.
Yes. Yeah.
Not like this slut had an affair with a teacher.
Right. Like, see, she's just always been horny and out of control.
Right.
Like, the problem is that the press is skewing it wrong. They're putting way too much editorial. Like, for some reason in the 90s, we still thought that the press was unbiased, but literally everything she's watching is so biased.
I mean, like, CNN, it's 24/7 news, and, like, they're just filling it with time and finding whatever they can put on TV about this story. And, yeah, it's all, like, editorialized. It's not actually real journalism, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and then, like, the CNN, the newsroom, all right, we'll start with Beverly Hills, childhood, divorce, fat camp.
Wow.
Affair.
Yeah.
And
it's
then,
also, like, it's crazy that it's, like, they made fun of her weight, but also made fun of her for going to fat camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's weird.
They're just trying all the different angles.
For being fat and also for trying to lose weight. Like,
yeah.
That's weird. And also, like, she was, like...
It's almost as if
like 12,
she
right?
can't
Like,
win.
Yeah.
There's nothing she could do or say that would make them see her in a sympathetic light, because that's not going to serve their narrative. It's terrible.
Just shut up. Hot Probs is on.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Does anyone have any hot props with this episode?
No, I mean, there's a couple, like, lighting things again, as always. But, like, not so much a hot prop, but I was curious. Monica's mom is not really doing anything but staying with Monica during this time, right? Because, like, every time she looks, like, so done up and so dressed up. And Monica's just hanging out in sweatpants.
Yeah.
Like, did she go somewhere? Was she, like, at work during the day? I mean, that might just be her thing. But it's not really a prop, but I'm like, why is she so... dressed up every day?
I think that is like a rich lady thing. I remember there being people who'd pick up their kids from school wearing outfits like that.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really sure about where her lawyer takes her. Her lawyer did not want her to, like, have to participate in any of the negotiations. But, like, that scene where she's, like, sitting with the lawyer and, like, he's like, so do you like DC? or whatever. Like,
oh my god, that whole part is so hard because they show how she sees everybody that had detained her.
Yeah.
She's, like, looking around the office and she's getting flashbacks of that day. It's so messed up. And they're like, you have to be here, and then they're so fucking mean and rude to her all the time.
Yeah. The lawyer, like, I read that, like, he was a close friend of Monica Lewinsky's dad, and, like, in the show, they make him look like he's, like, an ambulance chaser, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I find the way that he interacts with Monica to be, like, very, like, he just doesn't have any empathy, really, it seemed like he's like, you can't be scared, this is a negotiation, you know, like he doesn't have like a lot of sensitivity, I feel like. But I did read that he did want absolute immunity for her to have to do nothing, and like was concerned about her mental health, which was really fragile. I felt like they didn't really show that in the way he's portrayed.
I mean, I can see that might just be where he's coming from, because, you know, he's a white man who probably has never had to get inside of something like that before.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's just how lawyers are, like, they forget that for them it's just a job, and
for the client it's like their fucking life, you know?
Right. I mean, one time I had a lawyer tell me, don't worry about getting sued, it happens every day in my line of work. I'm like, okay, your line of work is being litigated.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
right.
It doesn't happen every day to me.
Right, exactly. And he actually did go on like 5 morning shows in one day. That was like kind of unheard of. It hadn't been done. But he kind of blew, I mean, like in this episode, he blew the deal.
Yeah.
For her.
That sucks. But I don't blame that on him. That Ken Starr is such a petty little bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh, I hate him so much.
He's such this, like, what are you doing in the office? I came in after worship. He's, like, such an evil person, but he's, you know, won't say a curse word or, like,
yeah, I find that to be very real.
I know, it's, like, so... Like,
some of the most
so
righteous men are actually pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Ugh. Always quoting scripture when it's convenient for their points.
Yeah.
And always name dropping church. Like, I was at church. I did this at church. You think that because you go to church, I won't know that you're a piece of shit. And then, the Pentagon ID photos. That's so brutal.
President Clinton had an affair with a former White House intern, Monica Lewinsky. White House
Me, that's my face. Where did they even find that? It's my horrible Pentagon ID photo. Oh my god, I can't.
Oh, I know. Like, where are they showing the terrible pictures?
And then the loop of her in the beret hugging him was just like,
so well.
Like in the CNN newsroom, they're like, look at that. Look who's waiting. Like a little stalker. I know. But they're like, this is gold.
Look at her showing up to his public appearance, you know?
Yeah. Like, everybody there is waiting for him.
I know. It's like, nobody's
Look how he
thinking
hugs her and talks to her like you would if someone was stalking you. Oh, get my stalkers here. Hey.
He had nothing to do with this. This was all her.
Right.
It's like his dick just fell into her mouth. Sorry.
Any other hot probs?
No, just that I hate Bill Clinton so bad.
I guess I have a little bit of a hot prob. It's just that I wish that they would do a little better job of telling us who everyone is. Because when Patrick Fischler showed up, character actor Patrick Fischler, who I love, and I actually didn't recognize until he started talking, but I was like, who is that? And I had to Google who he was. Sidney Blumenthal. Senior advisor Sidney Blumenthal.
Is he from Mulholland Drive?
Yeah. He's in a lot of David Lynch stuff.
I thought he was playing George Stephanopoulos at first.
Aww. That'd be cute. Yeah, I just wish it were a little bit better. I don't know, they could do captions or something.
Yeah, he's in his suit.
Next call.
Although weirdly, I felt like they really wanted us to know who Brett Kavanaugh was when he was on, but
Kavanaugh. Like, they didn't just call him Brett.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
I think my favorite meaningful passage was when Linda's talking to her kids and she's like, others are going to cheer me on. They may call me a hero.
We're at the precipice of a change. Very soon, the country is going to discover something about a friend of mine.
Monica?
Yes.
What did she do?
It's not important. What matters is that you prepare yourselves. A lot of people are going to be saying a lot of things about me. Some may be nasty, but others are going to cheer me on. They may call me a hero.
Oh, Linda.
That whole speech. I wrote down from that scene, we're at the precipice of a change.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so funny how vague she's being. Like, she talks to her kids like a politician. Yes, she is, like, way too involved in the DC life. And I want you to know I did the right thing, I wrote.
Yeah.
I want you to know I did the right thing.
That's such an interesting phrase. I want you to know. I did the right thing.
Yeah, and she's comparing herself to like some Watergate whistleblower or I did the right thing.
It's so disgusting, this line, but when the press was editorializing about Paula Jones, and they say, like, that she seemed, like, happy at the deposition as if it was the moment she'd been waiting for. I really hate that whole sentiment that you hear a lot with anyone who accuses someone of sexual harassment, like, oh, they're doing it for the attention.
Right. It has the worst kind of attention that you could get.
I love attention so much. I love being skewered in the press about my trauma. That's what I'm here for. Give me more of that.
Meaningful to me was Bill Clinton so assuredly saying, I have nothing to hide.
Well, since we're all still searching for a good comprehensive response to this, maybe we should cancel those.
Brilliant idea. Why don't we issue a formal admission of guilt while we're at it?
They're going to ask about the girl, sir.
Let them ask whatever the hell they want. I have nothing to hide.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, much earlier in the episode, we said, after today, I bet the judge throws the whole thing out. I can't remember if it was Bill who said that.
You were great, Mr. President. After today, I bet Judge Wright throws the whole thing out.
Don't worry.
This is all gonna blow over.
I wrote Marsha's line, these are lies about my daughter and I'm sick of them. I just was really feeling Marsha's sort of frustration and impotence. How hard it must have been for her to just sit and watch her daughter go through so much pain and not be able to do anything when normally I'm sure she's used to a life where there's always something that can be done in a situation.
Yeah.
There's always some way to take care of it or throw money at the problem, and she's tried to do all that and it didn't work.
Right. The scene where he calls Betty into the Oval Office and he's like, you know, Monica came on to me, but nothing happened because that would be wrong. And then she's like, that would be wrong.
I was hoping that you could refresh my memory on a few things.
I could try, certainly.
As far as you recall, you were always with me and Monica when she came to visit, right?
That's right.
So Monica and I were never alone together.
No, sir.
You know, Monica came on to me and she wanted to sleep with me, right?
Yes, sir.
But nothing happened. Because that would be wrong.
That would be wrong.
Good. I'm glad we both have the same recollection.
So chilling to watch.
It really is, the way he works through that. Yeah, he's like, and we were never alone together. You were always there.
Oh
in my right, and then at the end, he's like, I'm glad our recollections are the same, or whatever he says. It's like, oh, God.
I hate you. His demeanor is like so calm almost, and his voice has some warmth to it, but he's really just awful, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's intimidating you, but his voice sounds nice or something. It's just like a weird cognitive dissonance.
It's like the southern drawl mixed with the vocal fry that kind of is disarming for whatever reason. I don't know why, but
he's really disarming.
I liked when Allison and Linda were drinking that brandy, and she's like, it's basically Robitussin.
Oh, God, that's disgusting.
It's basically Robitussin.
Oh, yeah.
brandy is gross.
And then
I kind of like it.
Oh, you do?
She seems like someone I would like, you know.
Yeah.
The way that Clinton, like when he's at Hillary's bedside saying this is going to be a problem. Talking about Monica, she's like, did you actually know her? And he's like, she was a sweet kid, kind of goofy. Turns out she was very troubled.
She was a sweet kid. You know, kind of goofy. You know, she came to see me once or twice for advice. Turns out she was kind of troubled. Nancy and Evelyn, they moved her out of the West Wing as soon as they saw how she was behaving. I don't think I was ever even alone with the girl. You can ask Betty. She saw the whole thing.
Oh my God, all of that where he's like, she's from a broken home as if his marriage is like so stable and perfect.
Right.
When Monica worked here, she was a nice girl, hard-working, but you could tell she was troubled. You know, she comes from a broken home. I would talk to her on occasion, give her advice. You know, I was just trying to help her out. And I think she got the wrong idea.
She came on to you.
Maybe it's better to be from a broken home.
But he's like setting it like she was a sweet kid, kind of goofy, like telling his wife like I don't know, that's just like a descriptor of like not fuckable or oh I would,
like I just thought of her as a
goofy kid,
Well, he's like saying I felt sorry for her, basically. I felt sorry for her, that's when she fixated on me. He's like really leaning into the stalker narrative, distracting from what really happened, which was the abuse of power.
The whole thing about being from a broken home, it's like...
I know, like...
Who isn't
like
from a
in the 90s,
broken home?
This is so... really, like...
The wrong side of the track, those like 50s kind of narrative.
Yeah, I mean, what's that even supposed to imply?
Ne'er-do-well.
Trouble. I think it's
beauty school dropout.
Like, obviously trouble.
I wrote in the interview with the high school teacher, someone asked, would you say this was a Fatal Attraction scenario?
Oh my god.
I was like, Paid and Puke, shout out. Right. Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, it's amazing. It must have felt just endless staying in her apartment with her mom. It's awesome that she survived that,
Yeah, it was torture, I'm sure.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
I do have a little fun fact, which was the Bill Ginsburg broke a record by appearing on 5 major American talk shows in a single Sunday. That now they call it in DC the full Ginsburg.
That's hilarious.
I think that's
full
funny.
Ginsburg.
The full Ginsburg.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
So, since this episode's about misinformation about a person and pervasive misinformation, is there a time in your life when there was a rumor about you or some misconception about you that was pervasive?
Well, It's
not pervasive. I might have to rethink or just... Alright.
Or just a rumor about you.
Okay.
You know how loosey-goosey these could be.
Right.
Yeah. I was kind of like, in school, I was just kind of in the background. I wasn't on the radar, I don't think, for a lot of people to talk about me, but I don't know, like when I was really young, I was so shy. Like even when we went to McDonald's, I would be too scared to order something at the counter, and I would force my little sister. I would like whisper her in her ear like what I wanted to get and have her order things for me and like stuff like that. I just was really shy, and in 5th grade, I don't know, like somehow I like found out like people thought I was like snobby because I wouldn't talk. Yeah, that was just, it wasn't like pervasive misconception, but I was like, oh man, that sucks. I'm just scared to talk to people. It's not that I don't want to talk to people. You know what I mean? But anyways, that was mine. I don't have like a big story.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's really interesting that, I guess that's the kind of the idea behind the Lunchtime Poll anyway, is just the things that people just cite about you without talking to you, because talking to you would...
Right.
I don't know, like, we can't do that, so
like
I have to make up these ideas about you. Well, I can go next then. In high school, we had to take religion class every year because I went to a Catholic school. But one year, for a semester, we had comparative religion. We were allowed to learn about a religion that wasn't Catholicism for one semester, and we got to pick a religion to study. And so I picked Satanism because fun. And I learned a lot about it. And I had a really good time doing the presentation. But then after that, everybody in school was convinced that I was really a witch. And some people were scared of me. And some people just coughed Satan under their breath as I walked down the hall.
Oh my god.
And sometimes they would graffiti my locker or do mean shit to me. But they were...
That sounds like the craft.
It was. I mean, why do you think I love the craft so much? If only I really could harness the powers of Manon and get back at my goals.
Manon. Wow. Okay, so that was high school?
Yeah.
So mine wasn't the pervasive thing, but just that I remembered a story where someone literally made something up about me, which is just like such a weird thing to do. But in college, I became good friends with this girl, Anne, but she had this friend, Carrie, and then it was like a weird, like a friend-love triangle. Because Carrie was the one who introduced me and Anne, but then me and Anne really liked each other like so much more than either of us liked Carrie. Carrie was kind of bad news, right? It's Carrie with one R. Weird way to spell Carrie, right? Like, this is what I realized happened, like, after the fact, after this all went down. But it was basically like Carrie just made something up about me to Anne to try and get Anne to not like me anymore, right? But it backfired on Carrie big time because Anne just, like, told me immediately. Like, oh my God, is this really true? But the thing was, like, so there was this guy who lived across the hall from me in the dorm. I only lived in the dorm for one semester, and it was, like, a pretty terrible experience. But there was this guy who lived across the hall from me, and he was like a big guy, football player, real aggressive, like, and was basically a stalker on me. It was like a really uncomfortable situation, and I don't even remember all the stuff that happened, but like I never had any interest in this guy, and I feel I was like pretty clear about it, and I just was keeping my distance from him. So then one night, it's like we're all going to a party, and I'm at Anne's house, and Carrie's on the phone with her, like making plans about, are we going to meet up, or is she coming over first? I don't even remember. It was like she was kind of dating this guy who was also a football player who was friends with him. And so she tells Anne that Arthur told her that me and the guy, Tim, like, actually secretly hook up all the time, and he walked in on me giving him a blowjob, and she was like, what? She's like, yeah, Tim, the one that she allegedly doesn't even like. So basically, I guess she was just telling her that, like, to see how shady Amy is, right? And then Anne just, like, immediately got off the phone and told me this. She's like, okay, tell me the truth. I'm like, no, like, none of this ever happened. Like, literally none of this ever happened. Like, nothing at all, right? In that moment, like, thought, like, that's crazy. Like, is he telling people that or something? Right? Carrie got to the house, and I was on like Jersey Girl, super confrontational. I'm like, who's your friend? What'd your friend say about it? Like, immediately she's like, oh fuck, like, this is not how I thought this was going. And I'm like, it's fine, they're gonna be at the party, I'll just like ask them about it when I get there, you know. And so she's like, no, don't. And she's trying to downplay it. And then at the party, she was literally begging me, do not ask him about it. I'm like, I need to clear this up, right? So I go up to this guy, Tim, because I didn't even know the other person. And I was like, so I gotta ask you something that this person said, you know. And he was like genuinely shocked, like, what are you talking about? And, you know, I could tell none of this ever happened. Like, he didn't say anything to anyone. But then he got super aggro. And I know, it was a real bad experience because he all of a sudden, like, he was a big 300-pound guy. Like, I looked him up in the football, whatever it's called, the directory.
The Chichaco.
Go Loggers. So, like, he was yelling at me. He was backing me into a corner. It was like a pretty scary situation, I know. And then, like, my little friend Anne, who was like 5'2", she was like, and I was like, look, I didn't say, you know, I'm not accusing you of anything. I didn't say, like, this person said it to me, you know, and then it was a really scary situation in that moment. And then, like for the rest of the semester, he completely kept his distance from me. Like, he knew that was bad. And I just realized, you know, after that, like, this is what happened, is Carrie made this whole thing up, and it blew up in her face big time. And so, so it wasn't pervasive at all because this all happened in like one evening. I know. I always thought of, I know, that's like I thought of that so much for years because it was like it was such a strange thing that really happened, you know. Like, it sounds so made up, 90210 or something, you know, like this girl made up a rumor about me so that someone else wouldn't be friends with me anymore. Really? Are you a real person that you really did that?
What's up, Kelly Taylor? Have fun at the gynecologist.
How very.
All right, good time. If you enjoyed this episode of Paid in Puke, please take a minute to rate us highly on your preferred podcast listening apparatus. If you did not enjoy this episode, no further action is necessary. Paid in Puke is hosted by Annie Malone, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at PaidInPukePod, on Instagram at PaidInPukeSeattle, and on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it